Hello everyone. You have worked hard all these days and now it's time for final touch. Whether you are revising after the Hindi exam or already fully prepared, these last minute strategies backed by 40 years of teaching experience will help you maximize your score. By now, you must have completed multiple revisions, practiced several sample papers, and learned from many teachers, both in person and on YouTube. The Grade 10 Math Board exam might seem like a big deal, but remember, it is just another exam. The real key to success is stay cool, stay calm, and practice smart. With just a few days left, here are some proven last minute strategies to help you aim full marks or at least 99%. Listen till the end. If there is anything new you haven't tried yet, there is still time. Let's get started. Here are the last minute strategies for the math exam one by one. Revise textbook questions. Go through all the worked out examples in the textbook and difficult questions from the exercises. If you find a question difficult, mark it with an R or a star using a pencil. After 5 days, revisit the R mark questions. If they are still tough, mark them as RR and go through again on the previous day of the exam. Focus on these specific questions from the textbook because 80% of the questions are NCERT textbook based. Second point, memorize formulas and key facts. Learn all the formulas, squares and square roots, prime numbers, and make sure you can recall them easily. Review theorems and properties. Try to remember all the statements of theorems from similar triangles and circles. Focus on properties of closed figures like triangles, quadrilaterals, and especially diagonal properties. Have you practiced enough sample papers? If not, solve them. There is still time. You will gain confidence by working through the latest sample papers with the updated pattern. If you have model question papers from different schools, practice those too. Those who have worked out before can revise again. Manage your time effectively. Make sure you can complete the paper within 3 hours. Plan your answering strategy. Decide in advance which section to attempt first. Don't decide sitting in exam hall which one to do first. The question paper is designed for all types of students: below average, average, above average, and outstanding. So plan your strategy wisely. Now here are some examination writing tips. Maintain a neat answer sheet. Write numbers clearly, especially zeros and 2. Some students write them in a way that 0 looks like a 9. Correct mistakes properly. If you want to do correction, cancel it neatly and rewrite the correct one on the top of it. Avoid overwriting. Use a separate sheet for rough work. Even though it is a rough work, keep it legible and write question numbers so you can refer back if needed. Show all steps in calculations. Many outstanding students prefer mental calculations and try to reach the answer directly. But it's important to show all the steps. Remember, you should write your answers as if you are explaining the process to someone who doesn't know anything. Understand the marking scheme. Every exam paper is corrected using an answer key. Review the answer key to understand how marks are distributed. This is very important. Stick to textbook methods. There are multiple ways to solve a question. Don't try to solve using a method that's not in line with the answer key. Even if the steps done by different methods are correct, and suppose the answer is incorrect, you might lose marks since the paper evaluator may not have the patience to check your approach. Answer questions in proper sequence. Follow the sequence of the paper to avoid confusing the examiner. If you get stuck on a question, leave it and come back to it later. For MCQs, you can leave a gap, but for other questions, maintain continuity. Write correct question numbers. Write question numbers as they are in the question paper. Be careful with MCQs. MCQs may appear simple, but the answers are sometimes framed in different forms. For example, a fraction may be given in an equivalent form, or a geometry option may be in sentence form. Make sure to read carefully. Practice this while preparing. Questions where figures are required. For geometry and surface area questions, your diagram should be neat. Use a sharp pencil and high quality eraser. Ensure your geometry box is fully equipped. Start with familiar questions first. Leave any difficult or unseen questions for the end. Time management. The mathematics paper, both standard and basic, have 5 sections. You have 3 hours in total. If you divide this by 5, it's about 36 minutes per section. While practicing, check how much time you actually need for each section. This you can check the way I have explained in concluding part. However, you should allocate time strategically based on difficulty. Section A 20 to 25 minutes, Section B 30 minutes, Section C 35 to 40 minutes, Section D 40 to 45 minutes, and Section E 30 to 35 minutes. You can decide how much time you require. Attempt all questions. Even if you don't know the answer, write the question number and mention what is given and what is being asked. You know why? This benefits both who gets more than 90% and those aiming just to pass. If there is an error in the question, which is very rare, marks are usually awarded to all students. Those aiming to pass can benefit from moderation and grace marks. Avoid last-minute learning. Do not try to learn new concepts right before the exam. Focus on revising what you already know. Stay away from unnecessary discussions. Some students demoralize others before the exam. Avoid engaging in last-minute discussions. Get enough sleep before the exam and stay hydrated. Avoid late night studying the night before the exam. Your brain needs proper rest to function at its best. You all have worked so hard throughout the year, and I'm sure many of you will score a perfect 100%. Remember, both students who score full marks and those who need just few extra marks to pass go through moderation. If you have done everything perfectly, your full marks will remain unchanged. However, sometimes a few marks might be deducted here and there due to strict marking criteria, presentation issues, or minor errors. But don't worry. If your answers are crystal clear, well structured, and match the answer key, full marks usually remain unchanged. Anyone scoring above 90% has essentially performed at 10% level, so don't get disappointed. From Saturday morning, start fresh. Pick 5 papers and attempt only section A in one go. Track your time, take the average, and repeat this for each section. This will help you understand how much time you actually need. 4 days before the exam, attempt a full 3-hour paper starting at 10:30 am, just like the actual exam, and see what time you finish. When you get your question paper 15 minutes before the exam, use this time wisely. Decide which optional question you will attempt. They will both be from the same chapter. Pick the one you find easier to avoid wasting time later. The only key to success is practice, practice, and more practice. So that's all from my side. My blessings to you all. Stay confident, stay focused, and give it your best shot. All the best, and God bless.